y'all. Hey, y'all. Thank you for joining Brownversations, our virtual platform where we talk all things brown girl related, giving you the latest news and updates and discussion topics that matter to you. We are here to connect you with other like-minded women, giving you the platform to share your voice in the Brownversations. Thank you for supporting the beautiful brown girls community. We appreciate that you've made us a part of your lives at most today. And I am so grateful to have you in community, or to be in community with you this evening, with all of you ladies this evening. My name is Sab Jackson. I reside in Dallas, and I am one of your co-hosts this evening. I am a marketing professional. I am a forever student, a podcast host, daughter to Barbara, sister to Maria, sister to Tawana, may she rest in peace, and sister to Sybil. Welcome, all of you. Come in, come in, come in. As you come in, please let us know where you're watching from. Introduce yourself. Say hey to all the other ladies in the community. If you notice, ladies, I'm here, Sab. I'm here solo dolo this evening. Kimberland is on self-care, so let's make sure we send Kimberland all those good self-care vibes. And but we do have a guest co-host this evening, and you may know her from Hey Beautiful on BBG TV. And I'm going to let her introduce herself. So, hey, beautiful.
Hello. Hello, beautiful. I'm so happy to be here.
Welcome.
Hello. Look at all the ladies coming in. Hello. Hello, Sarah and Tyra. Oh, I'm just so happy to be here, Sab.
Yes.
So my name's Aisha, and as Sab said, I am one of your hosts for Hey Beautiful. So I know some of you coming in are like, hey, we just saw her the other day. I'm super happy to be here and to be filling in and being with you today, Sab, and all the wonderful ladies here at Brownversations.
Well, thank you. So as you ladies are coming in, if you're watching, let us know again where you're calling from, but not calling from, where you're watching from. Why am I? This is like a radio station or something like that. Yeah. So if you know someone that would be interested in this show, go ahead and please tag them in this and let them know right now in the show comments that where you're watching from and who you are. And thank you for joining us. So again, let's send Kimberland those good vibes, but I hope everyone is all well and you've had a good day. And again, thank you so much for inviting us into your lives. So let's see who is joining us here. We got, let me see, Tiffany. Tiffany.
Tiffany here from Vegas.
We got Tyra. We got Sarah. Hey, Sarah. Hey, from St. Louis.
Hey.
St. Louis.
Hey,
Sarah.
They come in from all over.
We got, who else do we have? I'm just
want to
make sure I say hello to y'all and say what's up to you guys, because you guys are like, kind of like how Wendy Williams says, you guys are our third co-host, our co-host. You guys like our co-host. So thank you for joining with us this evening. We got, let's see who else we got here.
We got Angelina from Lawrenceville, Georgia. Let's see, we got Maisha from Virginia.
Wow, man. Yeah. I'm so excited to have you guys. We had a fun-filled, packed show for you tonight. It's a lot. It's. Can I forewarn? Should I forewarn the community? Like it's some heavy stuff.
They're gonna be here for the ride. It'll be good. We're gonna hold each other's hand through it. We'll be all right.
Yeah. All right, ladies. So
hey, Adrian in Tampa. I get excited when I see other Tampa people.
We make sure we acknowledge everyone who's taken the time to join us this evening and rock with us this evening. We really appreciate you. I appreciate you. Aisha appreciates you.
I do.
We all appreciate you, guys. All right. So let's get into it. Should we get into it? Ready to get into it?
Let's do this.
All right. So there are actually, let's get into like new and upcoming releases and new movies. Actually, I forgot to show. Here we go. So yes, this is Aisha's show. Hey, beautiful. So actually, Aisha, can you tell them a little bit about your show and what you do?
It is our monthly check-in with each other to support, to uplift, sometimes educate a little bit each other in these crazy times since we're not brunching in person. It's kind of our virtual version of it. We talk, we laugh, we make connections, we play games. We're good at the games. We play a lot of games. They know. And we do it by region. So we'll be announcing our regions and our dates for May coming up very, very soon. We just finished up April with Southeast and Midwest the other day. So, hey to all my Southeast and Midwest ladies. Yeah, it's great. We have a lot of fun. So, it's a good time.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of them. I will say I haven't been to all of them because there's some days that I just can't, but I have been to them, and they're actually really fun and really interactive. And I met a few ladies here in Dallas
Yay.
from that. So I need to come back and patronize them again. So they were really fun. You and your co-hosts were just really dope and really fun and really interactive. So if you haven't had an opportunity.
We had a boatload of ladies from Dallas the other day. I was like, Dallas was there to represent. We did. I was like, okay, Dallas, they came. So yeah, come through. And if you haven't checked us out for Hey Beautiful, come. We're fun. We're face to face with all the ladies. So, they're not just commenting. We're face to face and interactive with each other. So come through, beautiful ladies.
All right, so let's get into the show this evening. We usually start the top of the show with new movies, new streaming. We can't go to the movies, so we just start with all streaming films that are out. So we're going to start with, let's see where we're going to start with Netflix. So Netflix has The Upshaws. The Upshaws so Netflix dropped their first trailer for this brand new show with Wanda Sykes. It's a sitcom, also with her and Mike Epps. Okay. I'm just not like I'm trying to be objective here or
I like Wanda Sykes. So I'm there for it for Wanda. And I'll be honest, I wasn't there until I watched the trailer. And then because the way they described it, I was like, are these more stereotypes? Like what's happening here?
Yeah,
but the trailer, when you see it, is actually funny. And I think they handle it in a good way. So I'll check it out. At least an episode or two.
So yeah, The Upshaws on Netflix. And then another thing we wanted to talk about was on Netflix also is it's only for a limited time it's Chadwick Boseman's A Portrait of an Artist sets up the documentary by sharing some interviews with some of Hollywood's collaborators, essentially just giving their thoughts and their feelings on Chadwick Boseman. And speaking of Chadwick Boseman, even though we're going to talk about the Oscars in a bit, a lot of people were up in arms about him being snubbed at this year's Oscars. And I myself was as well. But if you have an opportunity if you have Netflix or if you can get someone's password, go check out on Netflix Chadwick Boseman, A Portrait of an Artist. I have not watched it yet. It's definitely on my to watch list for Chadwick Boseman.
You said get somebody's password. We didn't say that. Facebook algorithms don't cut us off.
Yes. I know I know we talked about this in previous episodes about how Netflix is trying to cut down on people using your passwords, password sharing. But hey, get it where you can get it. Get it where you can get it. So I definitely plan on checking that out. All right. So let's see. What else do we have here? Okay. So I may jack up this name and I apologize. I'm not trying to because I'm just Quelly TV. Quelly or Quelly?
Quelly.
Okay. So you introduced this one about comedian Littlerel and what he's trying to do. Can you speak a little bit to this? Can you speak to this? Because I didn't hear about it until you introduced it.
So Littlerel, who some of y'all might know from Judas and the Black Messiah, he actually was also one of the hosts for the opening portion of the Oscars and did a segment for that last night. Anyway, he is trying to use his platform as an artist, as someone who's, reasonably well known. And he's teaming up with this streaming app called Quelly TV. And it's designed to give Black content creators more ownership of our work. So instead of stories about us being written by people that aren't us, he's trying to get more work about us by us.
Mm.
And really just kind of shifting some of the narrative that we see of stereotypes and things like that to be more reflective of who we are as a people.
Okay.
And also giving people more economic ownership of their work as well. So,
I'm here for it.
you know,
I'm here
big
for it.
up
I like
to him.
Littlerel.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
funny. He's been
Big
funny
up
to
to
me.
him. And thank you.
All right. So the next on the docket is a Black Lady sketch show. They are back for season 2, and the season 2 premiered this past Friday or Thursday, the 23rd. They premiered their season premiere on the April 23rd. I've watched some of their skits. Aisha, Community, you ladies, have anybody as any the Black Lady sketch show?
I haven't. I feel terrible.
Okay. I've heard a lot of great reviews.
Well, I don't have HBO Max, so that's my reasoning.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Do you what kind of who's your phone service through? Just random, and I'll explain why.
Like Verizon.
Okay. I was gonna ask.
They don't give you anything. Verizon's like nothing. They don't.
I was gonna ask because yes, I am with AT&T, and AT&T was like, "Oh, you're with AT&T. You can get HBO Max with us." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, great. Just do the app." So yeah, So maybe Verizon, you need to like complain. Maybe you need to Karen to Verizon, and then maybe they'll like.
Verizon knows where I live and says, "Cut us off if you want to. You won't get phone service." So I'm out of luck.
I mean, sometimes you just have to complain. I learned that from my mother. My mother was just like,
"Oh wait." Tyra says she watched Black Lady Sketch Show on YouTube and Facebook. Okay, thank you, Tyra. I will go to YouTube, I will go to Facebook, and I will check it out. Thank you.
All right. So next we have, so yesterday was the 83rd or 92nd, 93rd, I'm sorry, 93rd Annual Academy Awards yesterday. So we bring this up just because this is obviously a topical topic that we need to talk about. We need to talk about who won the things, who didn't win the things. And I know we talked about at the top of the show how we were a little upset about how Chadwick Boseman essentially got snubbed posthumously. Thank you for that. Yeah, I'm in that same category. Like his performance in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom was just phenomenal. And then it's just out of respect. Like you just have to pay. I think Anthony Hopkins. I didn't know who he was till I looked at his picture. But so let's just speak to some of the winners and then winners from last night that we know of. So last night, I believe Daniel Kaluuya won his first Oscar for Judas and the Black Messiah for Best Supporting Actor. That
well deserved.
Yeah. What about you ladies in the community? Like, did you? Yeah, I loved Judas and the Black Messiah, and it was on HBO Max, and it wasn't on there long, or Amazon. I'm sorry, It was on Amazon. It was on Amazon Prime, but it wasn't on there for a good amount of time. But it was definitely well deserved. Yeah.
If you ever watch any like documentaries about the Black Panthers or about Fred Hampton, I mean, I'm a documentary junkie. Like I love a good documentary. He was amazing. Like I was like, okay, yes, sir. I believe you are reincarnated. I mean, he was amazing. And it just, I mean, Chadwick, I felt like his performance in Ma Rainey, it was like there was no way that was him because he was so good. And you're like, you can't play that type of person and be he just was so good. I mean, there were some good winners. Soul got Best Animated Feature. Soul got a few. Soul got Best Animated Feature, Best Original Score, Best Original Song went to Judas and the Black Messiah for Fight for You. And then Ma Rainey got 2 like behind the scenes awards. They got Best Hair and Makeup and then Best Costume. But that was really it, which was surprising because there were some great nominees that should have gotten it. And I'm tired of seeing people like Frances McDormand or whatever her name is get the same awards. And They play the same characters over.
Well, there were some other things that we wanted you guys to, ladies, I'm sorry, pay attention. I'm from Wisconsin. We say guys a lot. We wanted you ladies to pay attention to. So there is, and although this doesn't come out until September, this has been making its rounds. And I feel like this is significant for us to even just pay attention to and to know about. The trailer for A Love Song for Latasha, is the 1992 headlines for Latasha Harlins, the murder at the hands of a Los Angeles convenience store Asian convenience store owner. And she was 15 years old at the time. And she served as a catalyst for Los Angeles riots. And if I remember the story correctly, the store owner thought that she was stealing something. And when Latasha tried to give her the money for it, took her life.
Mm-hmm.
Took her life. So this is coming out on Netflix. A documentary of sorts is coming out on Netflix. I want to say it says September, obviously. But while we typically try to keep shows within a month range to tell you ladies, but this was significant enough because this kept coming up as I kept doing the research for different movies for the Oscars. Let's see what else we have. We have Concerto, and if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Concerto, a conversation. Concerto. See, that's why I have you on, Aisha. I am just messing up words. Is it concerto? You say concerto?
A concerto is a conversation. Yeah.
A concerto is a conversation. And this was Oscar nominated. It's a short documentary, and it's rooted in Los Angeles history as well. The film tells the story of Horace Bowers Sr. and his journey on becoming a successful LA businessman. And it began long ago when he left Jim Crow South for a better life. So we just want to point out some of these movies that essentially need to be paid attention to, and that there were some Oscar buzz around these films, and they're just significant for us to want to bring them up. Another one is Crip Camp. And this one is another documentary, and it was a nominee for Best Documentary Feature, and it follows a band of teens with disabilities as they go from playful teenagers to trailblazing activists. And this one is significant because President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, they got that big deal with Netflix several months ago. This is one of their things.
I didn't realize this was one of theirs. Okay, they'll definitely get my time and energy now for sure.
Yeah. They're big bucks with them. And then finally, Two Distant Strangers won Best Live Action Short for Netflix. And the reason why I paid attention to this one is because one of the producers on here is Van Lathan. Van Lathan is the guy who used to work at TMZ and the guy who put Kanye West on blast at TMZ. So he was one of the producers on it. The guy, he's from BET. The guy from 106 in Park, the whole previous host from 106 in Park. He was one of the producers on it. I don't know on it, but this is
Community. What's his name? I know somebody knows the name out there.
He's an Omega. You guys know me with my brain farts, and I'm sorry.
Somebody else come with it. It's, I didn't know about this one until you mentioned it. And then just funny enough, ironically enough, my niece actually posted about this this morning. I think I saw it from her. And Terrence.
Thank you. Keep going. Terrence J. Thank
you. My niece actually posted about this, and she was talking about how good it was. And she was like, everybody must watch this. And I know she has very discerning taste. So if my niece said, I was like, okay, I will pay attention. I will watch this one then.
Yes. This is on Netflix. So Netflix is dishing out the content. I will say I am a little perturbed that Netflix keeps going up on its prices, right? Yeah, they keep going up on its prices. I'm not happy about it, but they are dishing out some good content. So I guess I shouldn't be.
It's like a trade-off. They know we give you good stuff, you'll pay for it. So we'll give it to you, give you good stuff. If you want it, we're raising the price. Welcome to, capitalism.
Yes, exactly. And then also I wanted to mention someone else who was at the Oscars. So Tyler Perry got the humanitarian award. He received his much deserved flowers. I know a lot of people have varying opinions about Tyler and his content. I am one of those people, but I also said that I will not castigate Tyler's content as much as I used to. But what was great about him is he is a one-man show. He writes, he acts, he produces, he directs, he gives back. He literally gives back. So he was presented with the humanitarian award last night. It's called the Jean Hersol? Well, anyway, it's just the humanitarian award. And they're just giving people like Tyler his flowers. And it's well-deserved because Tyler definitely, he gives back. He gives back. So he gives back. But
I love that Viola Davis presented it too.
Okay, I didn't watch it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you speech, you didn't see his speech? Oh, girl.
No, I'll catch it and I'll watch it.
Thank you, Restoration. She said, I love me some Tyler Scott Perry. She threw in his middle name too. Yes, ma'am. His speech was so like, whatever you think about his movies is cool. He's a good human. Like he comes from where he wants to help, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, it's not from a place of like, I'm better than you. I'm on my high horse. Let me throw money down to the poor people. He's like, I was you. In his heart, he's like, I still am you. He just, yeah. His speech actually kind of made me a little teary, but it don't take much.
I'll go and I'll watch the highlights. I'm pretty sure I'll go watch the highlights. But we wanted to ask, were you, Aisha, were you community, Irma, Maisha, were you ladies satisfied with the number of people of color winners from this year's Oscars? I know we mentioned earlier, a lot of people were up in arms about Chadwick just because he deserved his flowers. But were we okay with the wins, the nominations this year? Were we okay with the speeches? I know Regina George, and I make that comment because did you see that?
Yes, and that was I was like, what? Was that a mistake? Did she change her name and I missed the memo? Like, what was that?
So if you watch the show Mean Girls, you know that Regina George was like the villain in Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Somebody from USA Today was like, Regina George made this, it was a tweet from USA Today, and they said Regina George made this impactful comment, something of another. I don't remember what it was verbatim, but they called her Regina George. Her name was Regina King. And I was like, they did that.
So I wasn't crazy when I thought he said it. And I was like, that couldn't be right. Okay, he really did say it. Okay.
So they did. Yeah, it was a tweet. No, they said it on air. I saw the tweet.
No.
Oh, gosh.
On air, when she was coming out, and I thought, because it was late by the time I was watching it, I thought I just I misheard something. They said Regina, and King was not the last name that they used.
Oh, jeez.
So that I think they actually said Regina George. That's why the tweet happened, because they were
my gosh.
Yeah. You wouldn't know though, because she's so classy. She didn't skip a beat. She didn't correct them. She didn't make fun of it. She just kept moving with life. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I definitely need to catch up on all that. We were trying to do preparation for the show, but I love the outfits. We didn't have time to upload the images for the outfits, and apologize for you ladies this evening. But I like some of the outfits. I like Regina George's. I'm making a joke here. I like Regina King's outfit. I like a lot of the fashions from last evening,
okay. Wait. Speaking of hair, can I just say that the ladies in the comments they love Tyler Perry. They love him as a human, as a person, as what he does, but they are telling him he needs new hair and makeup people for his actors.
He's heard it. He's heard it.
I was like, they are not here for his hair and makeup people. So, Tyler, we need you to listen, please. Thanks.
I think he's on the right track. I think he's hired outside writers. So I think he's listening and in hopes that he will actually, thanks for putting that out there. So next we want to talk about, are you a fan of Jeopardy at all, Aisha?
Yes.
Do you watch Jeopardy at all?
I used to watch, obviously, a lot when Alex Trebek was still alive. May he rest in peace. I watched a few episodes when they started with the guest hosts, but I didn't connect or vibe with a lot of the guest hosts, so I haven't watched as much, but I will soon.
So LeVar Burton, Reading Rainbow, has been announced as the next guest co-host. They have a slate of co-hosts. From my research, they have a slate of different co-hosts to watch, but there has been a petition for LeVar to be the permanent host, which I am absolutely here for it. So there has been a petition going out through change.org to make LeVar Burton, yes, the Reading Rainbow guy, the permanent host for Jeopardy. And he's currently set to be the guest co-host for the final rotation of guest co-hosts. So the petition right now has 240,000 at this time, and maybe I should go ahead. I don't watch Jeopardy, but maybe I should just go ahead and sign it, just because I am rooting for all things Black. But
it's fun. Like I've watched a few, and I always crack up when they have like pop culture questions, and like Barack was an answer to a question one time, which cracked me up. And yeah, so I like when I can answer the questions. It makes me feel smart for the moment.
Yes,
I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
so I'm here for LeVar, you know.
Yeah.
And anybody that is an old school Star Trek fan, Star Trek: The Next Generation, they remember him from that too, because he was that's the Vulcan thing. My defense is I had an older brother that made me watch it, but yeah.
That's not LeVar. That's not
No, LeVar didn't do that. No, he had this like visor thing that was like, do you remember the banana clips we used to wear in our hair in like the 80s and 90s?
Yes.
He had I swear it was a banana clip that went over his eyes and it like lit up.
The hair clip.
And that was,
yes.
It was hilarious. But no, we love you, LeVar. Come on,
yes,
Jeopardy.
We are rooting for LeVar. Can I also say I'm a Packers fan. Recently, Aaron Rodgers was a guest co-host on there, and he did all right. But I am still rooting for LeVar Burton to be on the permanent guest co-host for Jeopardy, even though I don't watch it as much.
Tyra's with me. She remembers Star Trek and LeVar on there.
And so does Elise. Elise was like, I remember the banana clips. Yes, I absolutely.
Restoration's making fun of me. She's like, yeah, right, older brother. I swear. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you.
All right. So next we have on the docket. Okay. So do you guys know you guys may not know, but Devon Ellis is a Instagram. Instagram is where I was introduced to Devon Ellis, and he is a actor. He's a former NFL player from Instagram. He plays on Sisters on BET. His whole family is on Instagram with their three beautiful Black boys. I absolutely love that family. Jackson, Cairo, Kaz, Deadass Podcast, and his wife Kadeem Ellis. And they have a children's book that they talked about recently on the Breakfast Club. And I wanted to talk about this story because he has this book called The Ellises and the Time Machine. Why do we have to say Black Lives Matter? And the reason, so Devon Ellis and his family, Kadeem, all of them wrote this book together because Jackson, their 8-year-old at the time, he wrote this children's book to help parents have the talk with their kids about racism and Black Lives Matter. Because Jackson, the 8-year-old, was like, why do we have to say Black Lives Matter? They should just know, right? This is an 8-year-old communicating that. And Devon thought, he said, after the George Floyd killing of last year, he just thought it was important to help other parents have that conversations with their kids. And that's what Devon is doing with his son, Jackson, is he wanted to, because yes, it is important. They should just know, but he was trying to figure out how to have the conversation with his kids. From Instagram to a book deal to sisters and like Devon and his family are doing it. I absolutely love watching this family on Instagram. So I wanted to bring this story to your attention because I thought that this was significant. A beautiful Black family. They are very transparent on Instagram. They don't act like they know everything about everything. But yeah, what do you ladies think? What do you guys think about this at all?
I
Or,
tell you
or
what, I'm a mom, so I have a little one right around the age of their 8-year-old. So this for me hits home. And it's a hard like Sesame Street last summer had the thing
mm,
about racism. And I'm watching it with my son, and he was asking me questions that I just wasn't prepared to answer for my little human. And it's hard, it's my son will tell you if you ask him like about racism, his standard answer is racism is stupid. I'm like, okay, that's great. We got to dive a little deeper, son. Um, so those questions are hard to answer and they're hard to hear from our kids. So
mhm,
I'm here for it. And the minute I can get my hands on this book, that's what we're reading for bedtime one night, and we'll
mhm,
keep reading it and we'll keep talking about it. So I'm thankful that they wrote something like this because it's a hard conversation to have with our littles,
yeah.
So thank you to Val and Ellis family.
Yes, 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 yes. So I hope
Yeah,
that you
and the
guys check
community
them out.
seems to be here for it too. Elise said this is exactly what we need, and yeah, it really is. You know, um,
Hmm.
so
I
they
just
say the community's in agreement.
I'm glad. It's just it's kind of heartbreaking that
Mhm.
Jackson is just such a cute little boy. That they're these kids you mentioned earlier about your son, about your kids, of how they are just aware and or about your
Mhm.
classroom, your kids in your classroom, how they are just emotionally aware of what's happening. And I think about how kids are retaining that and how they're thinking about that, how they're ingesting that. I don't want to say it's trauma, but I think it's a level of
It
trauma that they're
is.
ingesting.
It
Um,
is because they're they're wondering, we talk to them about growth mindset and we talk to them about, loving who you are and love everybody and everybody's great. But then they're hearing, even if they're not like watching the videos we as adults are, they're hearing the byproducts from their
mhm,
parents on social
yeah,
media, whatever. And it's picking at their little hearts and their souls, and it's devaluing who they are, and it's making them question, why does this person not like me? Why, are they looking at me this way? Why are they saying these things to me this way? And it's the worst thing in the world, as a mom, to feel like your baby's hurting and you don't know how to fix it and
mm,
you don't know the answer. So
mm,
we turn to books and we
yeah,
hope that we find the answers there.
yeah.
um but yeah, this is definitely necessary. And I love that Maisha said we need to keep talking about it, not just to each other, but to many other races. This is a world problem. It is. It is. And we got to talk to her. My mom didn't talk to me a lot about race. Like I knew when people were looking at
Mhm.
us sideways, and I figured things out when I got older. We also have to talk about it with our kids and break the cycle so
Yeah,
that they know better, so that they can also do better.
yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
so I not imagine, I saw it on Amazon. So definitely check it out on Instagram or on Amazon and
On
or
Amazon.
Instagram. I would say Instagram because that's where I found them, but I did pick this picture from Instagram. So definitely check out this book, The Ellis's A Time Machine. Why do we have to say Black Lives Matter?
Mhm.
All right, so next we have so Planned Parenthood. You introduced this story, you or someone introduced this story,
No,
and
Christina did, but I happen
okay,
to
Christine.
I'm a proponent of Planned Parenthood, so
So I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one because I just learned about this yesterday when we were going through the run of show. Because I know that from you guys, that they recently got a new CEO and she's a Black woman and she wants to right the wrongs. Can you speak to this? Can you let us know
yeah,
what's going on with
so
this?
Planned Parenthood, they kind of get a bad rap, because people think that they really do one thing, terminate a pregnancy. That's not what they do. Their Planned Parenthood is about healthcare and women knowing about their bodies and getting birth control and having access to healthcare, that they might not normally have. So, the founder, of Planned Parenthood, her name was Margaret Sanger. She passed away in like the 60s. Um,
I thought you still alive.
what we are now learning, yes, thank you, Irma. They're all about a woman's right to choose what happens with her body. Well, Margaret Sanger when she started Planned Parenthood, it's almost like the ideas were good, but her methods were rather inscrutable. She has a past with white supremacist groups. She has a past, going to KKK for funding and things like that. She does have a past of doing things to women of color that did not benefit us. So the new CEO, she is a Black woman. Her name is Alexis McGill Johnson. She is finally speaking out against Margaret Sanger and saying, listen, we can't run from our past. This is what happened. However, I kind of equate it to like you have a parent that does stupid things. Maybe you have a toxic relative. You can't control what they did. All you can do is say, I hear it. I'm facing it head on, but I'm going to do things differently moving forward. And that's what Johnson's doing. She's saying that we are facing our white supremacist past. We can't change it, but we're going to change things for the better moving forward. And I think that's something a lot of companies could look at and say, our founder did dumb things. We are not our founder. We can do better. We can change for the better. So I applaud her for facing this head on, not running from it, and for doing better for women of color, for all women.
I didn't. So thank you for introducing that story, because I didn't know anything about it. I hope that the community found value in this, because I certainly didn't know anything about it. And
it's just, and we don't, we live in cancel culture. So, there are people that'll be like, oh, well, they were founded by this person and she was a white supremacist or she worked with them. You're cut off. But we got to look at where they are now and where they're headed. So I think that's important,
Yeah.
And Planned Parenthood does good stuff.
Okay. Yes, they do. As far as I know. I mean, yeah, as far as I can go on from my thoughts, but I won't go on. We talk a lot. We can talk a lot. You guys will learn from the show. Like I can go get. And I also learned from Aisha, like you can talk to. So we're just trying to reel it in during the show, but no, in all fun, we're just trying to have fun and keep time, obviously, for the show. All right, so next we have.
Wait, can I read Aisha's comment real quick? I love this. She says, I'm pro-life and pro-choice. I hope no one has to get an abortion. I'm glad Planned Parenthood is there to help people through this difficult decision. People need to mind their business and stay out of other people's uteruses. And you are right, Aisha.
Thank you. It's only Republican white men that are all up in our uteruses.
Get out my business.
It's always them. And then they want you to keep the kid, but then they don't want to help you pay.
Help. Exactly. Leave me alone. So yeah. And so the question really is, is this something that we think, other CEOs could do moving forward, like face your past and move on from it, or is this maybe just unique to this situation? What do you think, ladies?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Thanks for posing that. I think that other corporations, other nonprofits can lead by example, can see that the Planned Parenthood is leading by example, because I think a lot of corporations are we're in such a sensitive cancel culture time where a lot of companies are walking on eggshells about statements and things that they should say and things that they should support. But I think this is this is a great example of leading by example and not being afraid of retaliation from your supporters or from your stakeholders or your contingencies, and because good will win if I think if you're doing the right thing, if you're doing the right thing, that will shine through. I think that will carry you through. I mean, people like to see companies and organizations doing the right thing. Like that's just.
If you're truly out for the good of the people, like good of all people, then you'll be fine. It's the ones that aren't out for the good of the people, that are out for only good of a few people. They're the ones that have issues.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the comments here. They said they are
Yeah.
pro-life, but they are anti-abortion. Big difference. I'm learning from you ladies in this community. She said
talking about Republican. Yeah.
All right. So next we have on the docket. This is a story that I submitted because I need to get the community's opinion on this one. So this woman was arrested for, okay, so imagine you got your brokerage account, right? You got your
looking it up.
TD Ameritrade, Charles Schwab. What's some other brokerage accounts? You got your brokerage account.
Know.
You wake up one day.
I'm a teacher. I don't have a brokerage account.
You have investments in stocks. Well, if you are interested, if you have stocks and investments, if you're doing trading and buying stocks and all those things, you may or may not have a brokerage account. But if you have a brokerage account or even a bank account, let's just say banking account and a brokerage account. But in this instance, it was a brokerage account. Charles Schwab put $1.1 million accidentally into her brokerage account. This Black woman's brokerage account. They didn't know she was Black, but they put $1.2 million in her brokerage account. And she was a 911 dispatcher. I just want to put that out there. I think in Louisiana. And she saw that. I check my brokerage account every day because I just have to. Because I got stocks and I just check and I see how they're doing. But she checked her brokerage account and she saw $1.2 million in her brokerage account and she immediately withdrew it. She bought a house. She bought a car, and Charles Schwab was like, hey, lady, they're trying to call her on the phone and like, hey, we accidentally did this to your account. Can you give us back this money? She didn't call him back. She didn't return her calls. And for days, I think. And this financial company sued her in a lawsuit, and they argued that her name was, I don't want to mention her name because she was a Black woman. This is all about Black.
Don't mention her name. We don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Yeah, so they contacted her and they said they contacted her about overpayment funds, and she was required to return the full amount that they inserted into her account. Now, I want to know from you, Aisha, from you, the community, what would you do if you wake up one day and see $1.2 million in your brokerage account or in your checking account? What would you do?
I'm with the ladies.
What is our community saying? Like,
community said no, you're not getting it back. Linda said finders keepers.
They accidentally put this in your account.
That wasn't
and she got arrested for it. I'm trying to be politically correct on this joint. What were you gonna say?
Thank you, Maisha. She said possession is 9/10 of the law.
What does that mean?
That means it has to do with like if we're struggling over something and I have basically 9/10 of it, whoever has the majority of it, it belongs to them, as far as I understand that. But so that's what she's saying, is they put this 1.2 million in this woman's account. It's hers. You messed up. That was your technical glitch, whatever.
Yeah.
You lucky you could find me. I'd be on a beach in Costa Rica. Change my name. You're not finding me. No. Maisha said call it reparations.
Thank you, Maisha. Yes. Like you wouldn't be able to find, like I said, I think she should sue for emotional distress, because you put 1.2, I don't have $1.2 million in my brokerage account right now. You put 1.2 million in my account, because I pray for this every day. So you put 1.2 million in my account and all of a sudden it's just gone. Yeah.
Irma's nice and honest. She said she wouldn't spend it. Irma, you're a better person than I am. I'm with the rest of the ladies that are like, no, you ain't finding me. Ann said, but when they call me, I would have answered them, but she'd pay it back monthly. Can I give him $5 a month?
Yes, be on a payment plan for 1.2 million. I love your comments. So yes, that's what happened. to her. We didn't put her, I didn't want to put her name out there. I didn't want to put her mugshot out there. The fact that she even has a mugshot and she got arrested, it just blows my mind. Like, you guys did that. It was your fault. It was your fault.
Exactly. No.
So yeah. So next we have Essence. They came out with they unveiled their first ever quilt artwork cover, marking the year that changed the world. So if you let me see if I can make this a single, because I want you guys ladies to see. If you look a little closer, you see George Floyd on it, you see Breonna Taylor on it, you'll see, like, it's the first time that they had a visual representation for a cover in our 50-year history. I thought that this was dope, and I wanted to show this to you, the community, just because we obviously wanted to get your thoughts on it, to see what you think about it. I mean, it's something different and new for Essence. It's the quilt cover. The significance of a quilt is like, and the quilt is like a quilt.
Our ancestors, that's, in slave times, that's what people used to use to communicate with one another, because they would sew messages in quilts. They would like, if you were trying to get to freedom, they would sew maps into the quilts and be able to pass it along and not get caught. So quilts for our culture, for our ancestors, is very relevant. So I love that they're doing this as a quilt, as a tapestry.
I'm here for it. Yeah. And we just wanted to call out. So if you have an opportunity to go pick up this, I don't know if this is digital or if this is actually in store, but it's something to actually pick up and pay attention to. I think it's a beautiful cover. I mean, Essence, I think.
I'm surprised that they haven't had anything like this in the entire 50 years of Essence. That's
Good point. Good point. Good point.
But so hey, you got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. All right. So next we have, okay, do we know this lady? We know this lady. So this is Erykah Badu, and she is the face of the Spring Burberry campaign. I can't afford Burberry, but I just want to say she is the face for the Spring Burberry campaign. And the reason why we wanted to call this out is just because Erykah, who is also from Dallas, this is just a dope arse cover of Erykah Badu. Like, I absolutely love this cover. Love that she's the face of the cover. So Erykah Badu, the face.
Can we point out she's 50? Like, she is my life goals. She just beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Just gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I'm like, please, aging gods, help me out.
Yeah. I'm feeling it. I'm here for it. Like I said, I can't afford Burberry even if I wanted to. I remember I had a bootleg Burberry back in the day, and I wore that darn thing out. I wore it out. But I like Erykah. I love Erykah. I like Erykah. But yeah, we just wanted to point that out. Like, she's 50 years old and she's just doing dang thing. So shout out to Erykah, looking all fabulous in her Burberry.
Maisha, I don't look that. She said she don't look like that at 50. I said, I don't look like that, and I'm not even 50. Maybe I can look like that at 50, please. Yeah, she's just gorgeous.
I like Erykah. I love Erykah. She's so funny. All right. So next we need to talk about COVID. This is a staple for us until we're out of this joint. So as of Sunday, April 18th, I know we are the 26th, but as of Sunday, I tried to look up recent numbers, but as of Sunday, April the 18th, almost 130 million people 18 or over have received at least one dose of the vaccine. And I saw stories about how a lot of people are skipping their second dose, right? The adult population is skipping their second dose. So the CDC says about 50.4% of the total adult population has received their first dose, and 84 million adults, about 32.5% of the population, have been fully vaccinated. Have you, Aisha, received your?
I did. I have both of mine. So I'm like, and I'm 3 weeks past my second. So that means like once you hit 3 weeks, then you're supposedly fully vaccinated and safe. I'm not running around maskless. No, we're not doing that. But I am.
Oh yeah,
My husband is. My parents are. Yeah, I became a vaccine hunter to just track down because my
vaccine
husband did.
hunter.
Yeah, my husband didn't fit any. Like he's not over 50. He wasn't a teacher. He didn't fit any of the categories. But people were like throwing out extras at the end of the day. So
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
literally hunted one down and was like, go there, give him your arm, be gone. But yeah.
So me and you
Um,
out, and I want to know from the community. So me and you talked about the J&J vaccine. And some of you may or may not have heard the stories about the J&J vaccine. And at some point, about a couple weeks ago, they had put a pause on it due to blood clots, the mistreating of blood clots. And I received an update a couple days ago, or a day or so ago, that Friday's votes past Friday by an advisory committee to the Center of Disease and Control Prevention to resume administering the Johnson & Johnson coronavirus vaccine was the right decision. The reason why they paused it is because there were 6 cases that occurred in women between the ages of 18 to 49. And I point that out specifically, that had developed blood clots, and one of them had died. And I was doing the little bit more research, and they talked about how women between the ages, so there should be an explicit warning against the vaccine used for women under the age of 50, and women between the ages of 18 to 49 should exhibit caution, or what is that?
yeah.
Is that the word that I want to use?
Yeah. Exhibit
Exhibit
extreme
caution.
caution.
Exhibit
Yep.
exhibit caution if you are in that age range. So essentially, it's just like, if you are wanting to get the COVID or the vaccine from J&J, and if you are in the ages of between 18 and 49, do it at your own risk if you are in that age range for J&J, not Moderna, not what's the other one? Pfizer.
Pfizer.
So we just still want to empower people to decide to get the vaccine, but also just to do your research and know the risks of
Yeah.
getting J&J if you are in the age range of 18 to 49. And this is us giving the updates as we are receiving them in the news.
Yeah. I
Now,
mean, and this is ever developing, you
yeah.
know.
So Aisha, tell us about your story, because when we and you talked, I was like, oh, so you were going to get the J&J? Tell us
No.
about your experience with potentially
So,
getting the J&J.
this goes like Restoration said, go to a location where they have the other shots. So where I live, and maybe we just got lucky, for once here, who knows? But they'll tell you what the shot is, what they're going to give you when you go to sign up. So like you could go to the Publix pharmacy and who calling me? Don't call me now. I'm busy. You could go to the Publix pharmacy, sign up. Whenever you signed up, wherever it was here, they told you if it was J&J, if it was Moderna, if it was Pfizer. I went to sign up one place, found out it was Johnson & Johnson, and said no. Me personally, I don't trust Johnson & Johnson. Just period. As a company, I try to stay away from their products.
Mm-hmm.
So I waited, probably an extra week or so till I found a place. It was Pfizer. I said, okay, here's my arm, and roll up my sleeve. And we got my husband. I had people sending me messages. Hey, your husband could go here and get it. And I asked them first question, which vaccine is it? They said J&J. We'll pass. Like I'll take my chances elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just do your homework. If they can tell you ahead of time, find out and see what you feel comfortable with.
Okay.
But it's anything medical. There's risk to, they got the
It is.
warning for everything.
Yeah, to your point, it is. It says the severe side effects were rare. More than 6.8 million doses of J&J shot have been administered in the U.S., but health authorities said they moved quickly out of the abundance of caution. I would have waited too. I got the Moderna. I would have waited. I didn't want the J&J because it was like 66, 68% efficacy.
Yeah.
I want,
Yeah.
I was, yeah.
I mean, and I appreciate that they moved, quickly with it. Because when you look at statistically, 6 out of however many million is, less than less than half a percent. So I appreciate they didn't have to do anything. I appreciate that they did. It just was not for me. But there are people in the comments. Sabrina said she got it 6 weeks ago. She was fine. I know some people. Somebody said it earlier. They said they knew people got their second shot and it laid them out. I was
one
fine
of those people.
for both shots. Which was crazy. Yeah, I was expected to be like, I'm asthmatic, so I was waiting to like be laid up. My arm hurt. That was it. So everybody is different and you just have to kind of talk to your doctor, trust yourself.
Yeah.
And get your shots.
I was one of those people. All right. So we also wanted to talk to you ladies about there is potentially. So Pfizer CEO came out and said there may be a possible third dose needed for the Pfizer vaccine, or just the Moderna and the Pfizer Moderna and the Pfizer. The Pfizer CEO came out and talked about Moderna and Pfizer, and he said there may be a third dose that is potentially needed, similar to like a flu shot. How you have to get a flu shot every year. And he said a booster is the same as the yearly flu shot or the 12-year vaccine booster shot for kids. A third booster shot, I don't want to call it a booster shot, a third vaccine shot may be needed for the vaccine. And when I first saw this, I was just like, that's me, my reaction. I have a silly reaction. So we wanted to ask you ladies, Aisha, community, if you are fully vaccinated, does a third vaccine, having to get a third vaccine, deter you from even getting vaccinated? Yeah.
Like Irma asked why, and I'm assuming, Irma, you're talking about why would you need the booster shot? It's like getting the flu shot. The flu shot, when you get it, you're not 100% vaccinated against the flu. They study the flu virus and they make a vaccine that they hope will, attack that particular flu virus. But there's always variants of it. This is the same thing. Because COVID is ever changing and there's variants, the vaccine that we're all currently getting is based on what we knew at the time and the version of COVID or coronavirus that they had at the time. The booster is for those variants. When you get your flu shot each year, it's for the variants because it's not the same flu every year. So that's why we need the booster. And if you know anything about shots, it makes perfect sense. And kids have to get a 12-year booster for their shots that they got when they were a baby to go to school. It's no different. It's just this virus is ever changing, ever evolving. We evolve right with it, and you get the booster to really work with what you've already got and to fight against the virus. So if you get a flu shot, this is the same thing. This booster, same difference.
For me, I just don't want to have to continue to do this. That shit hurt. For me, it hurt. I don't want to have to do this every year. Like, I got my second and I was out for the count. And it's
Were you really?
I literally was. The next day I started feeling a little, I think it's because I didn't eat when I got the shot, but like the next day I was literally out for the count. And that's not me. Like, I like to get up and I was out. And it took me a day to just get my bearings. And I didn't want to attribute it to getting the second, but I didn't know what else to attribute it to, feeling the way that I felt. I wasn't on my period. So I was just like, what is going on? So it was a lie. I didn't like feeling that way. But if this is going to keep me alive and not in the hospital, then I'll deal with it. That's just how I felt.
So the question going through the comments is about why, and I misspoke when I said I thought Irma was asking about why we needed third. She was asking why someone said they wanted to wait for Pfizer. Pfizer was the one that, yes, was created by a Black female scientist. I got Pfizer. It was just luck of the draw. I was willing to take Pfizer or Moderna, just not J&J. And I
Mm-hmm.
just happened to get Pfizer. I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Thank you, Linda. Whatever it takes to be near her family. Absolutely. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. Oh, I didn't know that Restoration said always take Tylenol or ibuprofen prior to getting a vaccination. I did not know that. Thank you.
Didn't know that
I
either. Thank you.
I was
Well,
I was fine.
I'm
My
late
arm
for getting
hurt
that.
like somebody punched me a few times, you know.
Yep.
Um, and I think I had a headache later on in the day after the first one, but that was it. And the second one was even less. But now I know. For the booster, I'll take some Tylenol beforehand.
Well,
Yep.
speaking
See,
of
the community, they know so much.
they're trying to make it easier and accessible for us to know if we are actually infected or contracted coronavirus. So Abbott Laboratories, the Food and Drug, so they're developing an at-home coronavirus test coming to CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart. And the Food and Drug Administration has approved at-home coronavirus tests, which will soon be available in the said retailers that I mentioned. Abbott Laboratories, Binax Now, coronavirus rapid test kits will soon be available in these said locations. And these tests will be available online. I don't know if they'll be in store. I just saw online, but the
They'll
test
probably like be behind the lock. Like you have to get
okay,
somebody to
yeah.
unlock it for you.
Or pharmacy, yeah,
Yeah,
to your
yeah,
point.
yeah.
So is this like the new norm of, because I feel like this virus will be around for a while. We won't be out of the woods for a while. Um, I'm wondering, community, you ladies, are you here for it? I mean, because let's say if I want to throw a house party and I'm like, you got to take a COVID vaccine, you got to take a COVID-19 test
You
for it.
throwing a
I
house
don't
party,
know.
Sad?
No, I'm just saying, like, I mean, because when me and my sister went and got the COVID test, we had to do a drive-through, but I mean, it's ever evolving in how you get your results. But if I can go to Walmart and get a test to do it and administer it myself,
No,
um,
ma'am. No.
no, no,
No.
ladies,
I told you. Listen, okay. When everybody learns how to use a pregnancy test properly or something, use a thermometer properly,
no,
you can at home COVID test yourself. But no. I've seen too many people. Is the line pink? Are there two lines? How do I use the thermometer? How do I turn it off from Celsius? No, I'm not sure. You
no,
took an at-home COVID test? That's nice. Go see the doctor. Don't come to
no,
me. Mm-mm.
no, even
No,
ladies in the
no.
community. Linda says COVID card.
Wait, what?
Linda, just so you know, Linda, they're like doing fake tests. Like they're scanning for fake tests internationally. And I
Yeah,
figure it'll be a matter of time before they have to scan for them domestically. Like people are producing fake COVID-19 test results to show that, you are COVID free.
truly vaccinated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then I saw somebody today was talking about how they saw a statistic that, like, I can't remember the percentage, but a certain percentage of people weren't getting their second shot. But
Yeah.
then come to find out that statistic may not be entirely true, because if you get your second shot in a different location than where you got your first shot, it may just literally not be registered yet. So, like, for
That
example,
makes
I know
sense.
somebody got their second shot someplace else. The place where he got his first shot, they kept calling him, like, "You're missing your second." He's like, "I already got it."
Yeah, that
So
makes sense.
that statistic may not be right yet. I'm
Yeah,
with Linda
that
though.
makes sense.
I want you to have a COVID card. I want you to
Get
get
it
like a little,
laminated.
yeah, I want people to have like a little V on their forehead for vaccinated, like you get the little cross for Ash Wednesday. That's what I want,
Girl,
a little V, so I can see you coming. Like, where's your V? Oh, okay, we could talk.
whatever will keep us safe. I'm just glad that more Black people people that look like you and I are more receptive to getting the vaccine, just because Michelle Obama is doing a whole campaign on getting. I just want us to get back to some level of normalcy. We won't be at a level of normalcy for quite some time, but I just want to be able to go to brunches again with my beautiful brown girls in Dallas.
Thank you, Jennifer. Like the Scarlet Letter. I'm going to sew their COVID vaccination cards to their shirts. I'm so bad. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's like we all want to get back to, I know we all want to get back to normal, but normal is no more. Like we just want to get back to a routine of being able to engage and have fun and be out with people. I don't want to say without a mask because I feel comfortable. I feel uncomfortable having my mask. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. And you are supposed to get your second at the same place, but you don't have to. They want you to get it. See, thank you. They want you to because it's easier to track that way. That's why. But if for whatever reason, if you don't, it's okay as long as you just get your second shot.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
I go.
You're one of the people that's messing up our data.
I go where they tell me to go. I mean, I would have loved to go back to the other place, but I go where they tell me to go. All right. So next, we want to talk about, what do we want to talk about? Our lives and how our lives matter. And I know we talked about at the top of the show how we were just going to go up and down with topics. So this is one of those topics that it's, how can I explain? Feel free to jump in at any point, Aisha. I just feel like these are things that we need to talk about. It's nothing that I like to talk about, but it would be what's the word that I want to use?
We'd be remiss if we didn't.
Yes, and irresponsible if we didn't mention this.
This is the hold hands portion of the show. So like, we just gonna hold each other's hands as we go through this.
Okay.
And then we got good stuff at the end of it though.
Yes, we do. Because we don't want to hold on to, we don't want to be too heavy. So I'd like to start with, to be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be in constant rage almost all of the time. And that quote is from James Baldwin. And the next one is, if you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, that's not progress. If you pull it out all the way, that's still not progress. Progress is healing the wound that the blow actually made. They haven't pulled out the knife. They won't even mention that they won't even admit that it's actually there. And that was from Malcolm X. And I say that because this is Sab talking. There are no good apples when it comes to the police. There are no good apples when it comes to the police. And I say that because, oftentimes police sit there and say, well, those are just the bad apples. Yeah. There are no good apples. I haven't seen any good apples. And unless you guys in the community can show me good apples, I don't know any good apples. So let's just go down the list here. When we were doing our run of show, you ladies, we were just like, is that the right story? Is that the story? That the story? We were like going through the list of stories. Like, this is just too much, right?
It's sad that we have to almost cross-reference like this name and this. Oh, wait, is this the right story of a Black or brown person getting killed unnecessarily? Or is this one? It's crazy, so let's just go through the list and come out on the other side.
Yeah. So 17-year-old killed by the police in his high school bathroom. The story is that the officer accidentally shot himself, and the 17-year-old is deceased as a result of his own mistake. This is the story that I heard. And Makia go ahead.
The one about the 17-year-old boy, police officer, 17-year-old boy suspected, I think, of having like marijuana or something in his high school bathroom. Cop shows up, another cop shows up, and the young man is dead. He's been shot. The initial cop that was there says, well, I had to shoot him because he shot me. And the cop's foot had been shot. And then come to find out, the police officer lied, and his foot was shot by his own gun because he accidentally shot himself and then ended up shooting the 17-year-old.
Okay.
It was like,
so we also, there's just so many stories. Like I guard myself from these stories because I try to be conscious of my mental health, but I don't want to say I passively watch them. I pay attention to them, but not so much because there's just so much coming at me every day. Makia Bryant, I got the pronunciation of her name. I know we talked about this on the show. It's Makia Bryant, 15-year-old, Columbus, Ohio. We all know the story. If we don't all know the story about her, this is a young lady that 15 years old in foster care. She was being bullied. She was being bullied. I believe the bullies came to her home and attacked her. And Makia had a knife and she was defending herself against the bullies. Makia called the police to help her, and the police came and shot and killed her dead. I'll share my thoughts on this really quickly, and I won't harp on this too much. My anger in this is how police always come with the intent to kill us all the time. They don't come with the intent to diffuse. They don't come with the intent to see what's going on. They always come with the intent to kill. And another thing that is frustrating and infuriating me is how people on my social media timeline, in my social media space, mainly Black men, are not justifying, but giving a, again, feel free to jump in because sometimes I get a frame for
yeah.
Ahead.
It's bleeding into the stereotype, and people were very quick to say she had a knife, end of story, she was threatening, blah blah blah. And there's the backstory of it. Like you said, she's the one that called because she was being threatened, she was being harassed, she was literally in fear for her life, and she felt that was the only thing she could do. And the bottom line is, when the police show up, if they can, defuse an active shooting situation and everybody walks away from that, the active shooter walks away, why can't you handle a 15-year-old girl who, yes, she had a knife? We can't shy away from that. But she was still a 15-year-old girl who was in fear for her life.
Right.
And I think that's what it comes down to. I was ticked. I'm still mad.
The part that makes me mad is just the people in my community on social media, Black men mainly, were like, well, she had a knife. And it's like Black women always come to always at the front line for you, for Black men when it comes to you guys. But when it comes to us and protecting Black women and coming to our aid, you don't. And that was the disappointing and saddening and hurtful part for me, to see men in my community, who I regard my social media community. And there's a reason why I curate my social media community, to make excuses almost for this officer killing this Black woman. I'm sorry,
and
Black
girl. And the community's kind of split on it. Elisa's honestly in the situation. It was a no-win. There was someone else on the other side of that knife. Absolutely. But I go back to, there's somebody on the other side of that gun when there's an active shooter as well, but they still managed to walk away from it.
Yeah.
And Restoration said, did you not see her about to stab the girl? Yeah, and that I go back to that active shooter is about to shoot someone. Police officers are trained to shoot, to not kill. Like there are ways, taser, baton, shoot them in the foot, to just bring them down. Shoot to kill should not and is not supposed to be, from what I understand from law enforcement, is not supposed to be their go-to. But when it's a Black or brown person on the other end, that does seem to be the go-to. If I'm wrong, I'll own being wrong. But we're just not seeing enough examples of that for me to be able to say, yeah, I'm wrong about that.
Devontae Wright.
So
another story about a Los Angeles police officer who handcuffed a deaf woman and forced her kids to interpret for the cops. Adam Toledo, a 13-year-old, gunned down by the Chicago police. This story was disgusting to me because Sean Hannity from Fox News, whiteness, the white
He's just
racist top news,
nasty.
he called this 13-year-old child a man. A Kenosha cop, Kenosha, Wisconsin, who shot Jacob Blake 7 times in the back, and now he is paralyzed, is now on active duty. And I bring these stories to light because I feel there was a word that I wanted to say, and I apologize. I don't know how to feel about it. I'm tired. I am tired. Again, Aisha, we're here for to jump in.
We just have to be vigilant, you know. I mean, and some of the ladies, this one is definitely mixed. You know, Andrea had said 4 shots. Do they really need to shoot her 4 times? Talking about Makia. Linda said 4 bullets to a knife. She could have been disarmed without killing. That's my point about it. You know, Elise says our children are men. Theirs are children, and that's really important. We have to stop, you know, growing up our children just because it fits a narrative. They're children. You are legally not an adult until you hit 18. I don't care if that 17-year-old in the bathroom was 1 day away from his 18th birthday. He was a child, you know. So it's just about being vigilant, having those tough conversations with our kids. You know, we talked about that earlier, and just being aware, you know, of protecting them and arming them with every bit of knowledge so they can protect themselves that we possibly can.
They don't see us as human, Aisha. They genuinely
No.
don't see us as human beings, actual human beings that live. And I think that's the part that disturbs me and makes me so upset. Is like they can see a white child, a white man, the guy that shot people, I believe in Chicago or Wisconsin, he had a AR-15 gun and walked past the police and people were pointing to him like he just shot people and killed people, and he's like, they don't.
But he looks like a choir boy, so it couldn't be him. Like that's no.
But we have to continue, to your point, to be vigilant and be loud and be disruptive. And to that point, we talk about the protests that are happening and how angry and how upset we are and how we are continuously voicing our opinion on these things, and how mainly white America don't like us expressing ourselves and disrupting the status quo. So LeBron James recently, I didn't follow this story as much. He tweeted recently, and I'll read it, and you probably can't see it.
Wait, that one that you have though, that tweet, I think that's the apology. So
okay.
Yeah, that's the apology. His first tweet, he tweeted a picture. Now, I'm not going to say if I thought he was right or wrong. We'll get there. His first tweet was a picture of the cop that shot Makia Bryant. And it simply said, "You're next." Now, here's the thing. When I first heard the story, I was like, dude, you can't do that. You're going to incite violence and this, that, and the other. What people left out was his tweet said, "You're next," hashtag accountability. So he was very clear what he was talking about. It was in light of the Chauvin, verdict. You're next to be held accountable, not you're next like we're gonna hurt you or something.
Yeah.
And of course, mainstream, right wing, Fox News, all them took it, ran with it, left off the last part about accountability, wanted to roast LeBron over the coals, and was like, "See, we told you, he's bad, they're bad," all this stuff. So he tweeted an apology and then was like, basically emotions were running high. Like, don't blame me. A little girl lost her life. And the question is there not a way for us to express our anger, our longing for justice and accountability without having that even scrutinized?
So we talked about let me read a tweet really quick. To your point he
Yeah.
says, "I'm so damn tired of seeing Black people killed by police. I took the tweet down because it's being used to create more hate. This isn't about one officer, it's about the entire system, and they always use our words to create more racism, and I am so desperate for more accountability." I am with you, LeBron. And I understand and I get it. And I knew that they were going to take that text out of context, take that tweet, excuse me, out of context. But to his point, like, we protest, we get angry, we go out there, we protest, we have we're doing what we're supposed to do to disrupt the status quo and to make you guys do something, because protesting does help. It does. But the white people don't like it. I'm just going to put it out there. White people don't like us. They want us to protest organized. They want us to protest. And this protesting, the reason...
We're allowed to protest, Sab, as long as we protest by their rules.
Yeah.
Period. But last I checked, the First Amendment didn't have rules about how I'm supposed to protest. Elise said, even if someone is involved in committing a crime, does it always have to be a death sentence? We never get our day in court. And that's Holly said, hey, Holly. Holly said, use Martin Luther King's words to quell our righteous anger. Yeah, we're allowed to be angry as long as we follow their guidelines. We're allowed to protest as long as we follow their guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
And the minute we step out of order, we got, anti-protest laws and bills being passed and all of these things. So we got to make our own lane and just make sure, okay, I'll play by your rules. Don't be mad when I win.
Yep.
That's how I look at it.
And can you speak to the anti-protest laws that have been attempted and enacted?
Okay, so hold on for this one, ladies. So the anti-protest laws, and let me preface this by saying I am a big protester. I have protested, been out there with signs, yelling, chanting since I was a teenager. I've taken my son to protest before. Probably not the smartest move, but I've done it. These protest laws, they have tried to have these anti-protest laws for several years now, but in the wake of Black Lives Matter, in the wake of George Floyd, they have truly picked up steam. And currently, this year alone, since January of 2021, 81 bills have been introduced in 34 different states for some sort of anti-protest law. And there's currently, 81 bills have been introduced. Currently, 34 states have some sort of anti-protest law on the books. Mm-hmm. Florida just signed a recent one last Monday called the anti-riot law. Our lovely governor calls it the strongest anti-rioting pro-law enforcement piece of legislation in the country. It went into effect immediately. Oklahoma and Iowa both have bills granting immunity to drivers if they strike or injure protesters with their vehicle in public streets during demonstrations. And under that law, the use of a public street or highway during a protest can cause jail or a fine from $100 to $5,000. Thank you, Elise. I can't stand him either. She's talking about the governor. Oregon, Arizona, and Alabama all are considering bills with even harsher penalties for blocking traffic. Alabama's considering a bill where you can actually kill someone that's on your property as long as you reasonably believe that the person's attempting to trespass. And Minnesota, of all places, is considering a bill that if you're convicted of a protest-related charge, misdemeanor or felony, that you're ineligible for certain types of government programs like housing, food stamps, or student loans. And these are just a few that are in the works, hitting the books right now.
These are all reactive things to... it's just... I can't come up with the words to...
They want to quell, they realize we have a voice, we're using it. And with some of the recent elections, they're like, oh, they're using their voice effectively. They don't like that. So they're going to do everything. There's never been a protest that I've been to where everybody walked on the sidewalk. But in essence, that's what you're going to have to do, if you want to not potentially get hit by a car.
Yeah.
So, and organizers typically are very good about blocking off areas. There's a route, there's a path. So there's no reason for anybody to, hit you with their car. But in some states, if they do, they'll get off and I hope you live. Like,
Yeah.
that's the way it rolls. You want me to go into the how to protest safely?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So if you are, thank you, Elise. Hold on. Elise said, who said government slow? When they want to move, they move. Girl, yes, ma'am, they do.
Yeah.
If you are a protester, you're like me, there are ways to still circumvent this foolishness and to protest safely. And these are just some of the tips, that we can offer to you to protest, to be safe. And if you're not a protester, we got some tips for you too. So research any demonstration you plan to attend. Make sure that the organizers prioritize being nonviolent. Buddy up. Do not, I can't say this enough. Do not go to a protest by yourself. Don't do it. You are asking for trouble. Pack a bag with like snacks, water, just to get you through. They say wear clothing that's nondescript so that if something does pop off, it's harder for them to recognize you on video. And then a couple of things, encrypt your phone. If you're like me and you use the fingerprint to unlock your phone, take that off. If your phone gets confiscated or you get apprehended by law enforcement, they can physically make you unlock your phone with facial recognition or your fingerprint, whatever it is. And that does not hold up in court. Like, you stand less of a chance of fighting that in court. But if you have a password or a pattern or something like that, they can't physically force you to undo it to open your phone, and you have a better chance in court. If you're not a protester, you can make donations to local bail funds, such as the Community Justice Exchange. They work to literally help bail people out who get arrested, for peacefully protesting. You can donate to organizations like the ACLU. And the biggest thing is call, text, email your elected officials.
Mm-hmm.
If you call or text, encrypt your phone. You *67 when you call so they don't track your phone number. And if you do call, you do not have to give your name or where you are from. You simply call, you leave your message, and you call it a day. So those are some things that you can do to help, support protesters. If you want to protest, those are some ways to stay safe during a protest. Because I'm all about, we gonna protest.
Thank you for that. Okay,
Yeah.
I know we're on time, so let's just kind of run through it, not really quickly, but just we'll try to be prudent in our time. So the Derek Chauvin trial. Thoughts. How did you ladies feel about the verdict when it came in? How did you ladies feel? I mean, I can share how I felt. Aisha, you can share how you feel. I want to know how the community felt when this verdict came out. Like, were you just like,
I was
okay.
shocked. Like, I didn't think he'd actually get the verdict. I was shocked. But after the shock wore off, I was like, oh, okay, now what? I want to see the sentencing. Show me a good sentence.
Yeah.
Show me the sentence that fits the crime, that fits the guilty verdicts that he got, and then we'll talk about some accountability. That's Elise said she felt good. She seemed very calm. Oh, he seemed very calm. That's because he's a condescending person. I was trying not to curse so badly. So, and he'll appeal. Like, I want to see what happens there. Holly said she's still waiting for justice. She'll be pissed if the judge gives him 4 years or something. That's where I'm at with that.
Mm-hmm.
Andrea said cautiously enthusiastic. I like that phrase. Yeah. And I see that for sure. So we'll see. The sentencing can take can take several weeks, several months. So we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah.
And hope that cautious optimism and cautious enthusiasm was worth it. So
I heard he was on suicide watch. I mean, as he should be, right? I've heard
he's
a
playing
lot
a game.
Huh? I heard a lot of. Go ahead.
I was saying he playing a game. Suicide Watch My Left Eye. No.
I've heard stories about him, some people feeling a level of empathy for him, but I'm like, why? Like, I don't feel a level of empathy for him. But I don't want to stay on him too much longer. But I do want to really quickly
go to the good news, Sam. Go to the good news.
Yeah, I don't want to stay on him too much longer. He went to jail.
No.
All right, so
he got
sad.
enough of our time and attention.
All right.
Peace out,
so
Bola.
Morris Brown College in HBCU, they. I know we laughed at. Not laughed at this one. They received their. They regained their accreditation this week after nearly 20 years. I didn't realize it was 20 years. So shout out to Morris Brown College, one of the HBCUs of, I don't know how many HBCUs there are, I should know, but they received their accreditation back after 20 years. So shout out to anyone that knows someone that graduated from Morris Brown and someone is currently attending a Morris Brown College, that they finally received their accreditation so they can put their Morris Brown plaque displayed for everybody to see.
They can display it proudly and be like, yes, it's a real college.
All right.
Real school.
So this next story I was excited to talk to you guys about, because this is a story after that I really wanted to talk to you about. So LA family returned Los Angeles returned a Black family's California beachfront property back to them. So this beachfront property was seized from a Black family in 1924, and it was set to be returned to the descendants. The land could be worth millions today. So a stretch of beachfront property. I'll go ahead and show that to you guys right here. And it's a beachfront
in California, right?
That could be worth millions. Yes. And it was seized from a Black family in California 97 years ago today, and it was set to be returned to its descendants today. So a Black couple, Willa and Charles Bruce, they purchased this land on Manhattan Beach in 1912, making them among the first Black landowners in the city. The couple bought the land in 1912, and they created a beachfront resort. And they were essentially forced off this resort by the Ku Klux Klan, by white people, and they were forced off this property, and it was seized by the city using eminent domain to seize the property and force the resort out of business in 1929. The land sat dormant for years, but then they created a park. And if you could see this picture that I'm showing you guys, you see all the property.
Gorgeous.
A park, just a park. And it was renamed Bruce's Beach, and the Bruce's family sued, claiming that they were victims of a racially motivated removal campaign, which clearly they were, because if you see this picture that I'm showing, I'm going to show this in full screen, because I just want you guys to get the full effect. Look at the property around it, and then you see just the park in the middle. It's
Elise said it's worth $15 million now. 15. I can't even wrap my brain around that. And then I love Maisha. Thank you. She said, I see the 40 acres. Where's the mule? Yes, ma'am.
So essentially, this land is going to be returned back to the family and the descendants of their family, which is great, right? Because
amazing.
This is beautiful, and this is going to be worth millions, and they can do so much with this. And I'm just glad that they're getting their 40 acres and their mule back, proverbially. Yeah, this is great. I look at this picture and I'm marveling over it, because this is dope. Like, this is amazing. So we're excited that this family is getting their land back. All right. And finally, we want to go to our brown girl. We usually do. We are doing our brown girl spotlight, and we want to highlight the brown girl that we are spotlighting this episode. Her name is Kimberly Goodwin, and she is the president of ABC. She will be the first Black leader of a major broadcast news division. She currently serves as an executive vice president of the network, and she will oversee the national desks, foreign desk, and bureau. She joined ABC News back in 2007 and served as an executive director for development and diversity. Again, her name is Kimberly Goodwin. She is also a senior broadcast producer she was also a senior broadcast producer of CBS News Network. So last year, the National Association of Black Journalists honored her with the Ida B. Wells Award. And this was given to those people who provided distinguished leadership and increasing access to opportunities and people of color in journalism and improving the coverage of communities of color. So as president of ABC News, Goodwood will oversee news and gathering operations, digital ventures, and focus on network shows like Good Morning America. I'm just excited for the story. Black woman, ABC News, head of the network. That's all I need to know.
I'm here for it.
Black.
And make our the representation of us in the news better and more truthful and more honest. To who we are. So I'm here for it. So come with it and make us look like the wonderful kings and queens that we are. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. So we are at the end of our show. And I just want to thank you all for hanging out with us. We are truly grateful. And the Conversations do not stop here. Be sure to connect with us on our Instagram page. Be sure to connect with us on our on our Facebook group at Beautifully Shaded. Be sure to connect with us on Facebook. Continue to hang out with us in the comments and make sure you meet up with us in the members network. So Aisha, can you let people know where they can connect with you and find you and just shoot?
Yes, absolutely. As Sab said, if you haven't already connected with us in the members page, members.beautifulbrowngirls.com, that's where you can find us for Hey Beautiful as well. Again, my name's Aisha. You can find me on Facebook at Aisha RC. I know, I was waiting for it, Sab. I am a mom. I'm an educator. I'm an advocate for breaking down the stereotypes of gifted and ADHD children. So if you need some support with your gifted or ADHD child and navigating their social emotional brains, let me know. I am one of your Hey Beautiful hosts, and this has been so much fun. So Sab, I thank you for having me today, and ladies, thank you for having me on this side of the Conversations community as well. So thank you.
Aisha, thank you so much. You have been a joy. You have been so much fun. You've been so much fun. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for just rocking with us. And thank you for filling in for us. We really appreciate you. We will be back, you ladies. We will be back. Our next episode of Conversations will be Monday, May 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, Aisha, you were the bomb.com. I really appreciate you. And thank you for having a conversation with us this evening. And we really wish all of you a good evening. Thank you for hanging with us. Thank you for rocking with us. And we will see you guys all soon.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Yes. Happy Mother's
Day, moms. Take a break.
All right. Bye, ladies.
Bye, ladies.